Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another Asphalt 9 video. Today we'll be talking about the Volkswagen W12 Coupe, not only in its multiplayer series that's going on right now with the Max Trial series, but we're also going to be talking about the event that's going on right now where you can get the key for this car. And well, you probably won't be able to get the key, and I'm not going to be able to get the key from this event, but we'll talk about that in a bit, and we'll also talk about the car's performance itself. So firstly, let's talk about the event, because this is one heck of an event. Now, if you didn't know, there is a key for this car that you need to get in order to play with the car, like most cars now in Asphalt 9, honestly. But the thing with this car is that you actually need to get all of the 400 conditions in this event in order to get the key for this car. Now, I will say that with events such as this, like last year with the SSE Tuatara, out of the blue, they'll just drop packs where you can have a chance to get the key in those packs as well, alongside the normal pack that they have right now. Now, they haven't said anything about releasing these packs, and nor did they in previous events, so I'm hoping that they do drop those packs, because honestly, for most people, that is the biggest chance of getting this car, because the event, like I said, is definitely a bit ridiculous. You need a max 6-star 911 GT2 RS. You need I believe a max Vantage GT12 as well, and you need a bunch of other cars like the Ferrari F40, the Ferrari Roma, the Bentley Continental GT3, and I believe you also need the new Renault Sport RS01. But yeah, the requirements for this event overall are a bit ridiculous, especially because this is not some sort of king of the game. Don't get me wrong, it's a very, very good car. It is probably the new king of B class, because of its very good combination of statistics, which we'll talk about later. But because you can't buy cars individually that you need for this event, you have to go to the specific pack, the European Season 1 pack, where they have all the cars clumped together. If you are missing, like, let's say only one or two of these cars, it's going to be very, very hard to get the requirements needed to get the car for this event. And that's what really disappoints me about these new events, and just the events in general, where you need all these requirements, all of these different cars, because someone like, you know, who's been playing this game for a couple years now, and you've been pretty active, you're probably going to have a couple of these cars at least, and you might even have some of these at a higher star count, but you're certainly not going to have them, or at least all of them, at max, unless you are an alien player and you get top 1 in every single event, or you're a Legend Pass player who pays a lot in this game. If you're a normal player, chances are you probably don't have really any of these at a very high star count. And what that means is you need to spend a lot of tokens, not only to get blueprints for this car after you finish the event, if you even get the key, but you also need to spend a ton of tokens in order to just get the requirements to finish the event, because you need to get all of the conditions in order to get a guaranteed key. You don't just like need to get away with a 3-star F40, or you don't just need to get away with maybe a 4-star GT2 RS, because you need to get the key in order to make this car worth it, in my opinion, because otherwise you're just going to be sitting there with like maybe a 3 or 4-star W12 and no way to unlock it, and with no foreseeable future about if they're going to bring this car back, like with most of the other cars. Like, they still haven't really brought back the SSE Tuatara, and I've been sitting here with, I believe, a 3 or 4-star Tuatara and no key. So it really wasn't worth what I spent in tokens in it, because I just don't have the car, even though it's sitting there at 3 stars. So this is one of those events where, in order to make it worth it to spend tokens, you have to guarantee yourself that you're going to get the key. And with the fact that the packs come in clumps of cars, you can't just individually buy the specific blueprints for the cars, it's going to be a very tough sell for a lot of people. So I really only recommend spending tokens on this car and trying to go for the event if you have the ability to finish every single condition. So yeah, the event is very disappointing, because I really love the look of this car, and of course I love the orange colors of this car, and I like the sort of nostalgia trip that is this car, but I am probably not going to be able to get it unless they do introduce those key packs. So yeah, let me know your progress in the event. Are you going for the event? But let's move on to the car itself. So like I mentioned, this car is probably going to be the new king of B class because of its very awesome combination of statistics. You'll notice that the top speed and handling of this car are pretty much the selling points of this car, and that makes for a very interesting combination because it allows you to not only have an advantage in those straight tracks like the Cairo and Himalaya type tracks, but you also have a very good advantage in the twistier tracks like Osaka and the Caribbean. Now, the only two lacking statistics, or really just not that good statistics, are the nitro and acceleration. The acceleration is at 79, so that's below 80. So you're not going to be starting ahead of the pack in multiplayer, and you're going to need to catch up with that top speed. And the nitro is 54, which is really not that great. Now, I will say, if you're a veteran player, if you've played this game for a while and you're good at nitro management, chances are this really won't affect you too much. When I was playing the game in multiplayer, I didn't really feel that the nitro statistics was pulling me back in any way, because I think I'm like pretty good at nitro conservation and the brake nitro trick. So if you're good at those things, chances are you're not going to really care that this nitro statistic is pretty low, because otherwise this car is pretty darn good in its statistics. Like I said, you're pretty good on all tracks because of the good top speed and good handling. So in most places, you're going to beat out most of the other B-class cars. Even though you don't have the maximum stats of either one of those, you're still going to be so good because of that combination. And the combination of top speed and handling is what makes this car basically the king of B-class. So like I said, if you do have the ability to go for it, if you know you can get all of those conditions, maybe without spending like a boatload of tokens, then I think it's a really good idea to try and go for it. If they do release key packs, then it might be good if you've been saving up for a very long time to just spend a couple thousand, maybe 10,000 at the high end, in order to just press your luck and see if you get it. Now, that's my plan. I think that if they do finally release key packs, I'm going to go for it. Maybe 10k tokens at the max. But what I do want to say is that there is an event coming up for the McLaren F1 LM. Now, I'm not sure exactly whether or not they'll be releasing blueprint or key packs for the McLaren, but I know in previous re-released Grand Prix cars, they usually do release one of those two things. So if you have invested at all in the McLaren F1 LM, I recommend waiting for that event to see whether or not you will be able to invest in the McLaren F1. Now, I don't know if it will come while this event is still going on. I hope it does, so players have a choice. But if you're like me and you basically just have given up already on getting the W12, it would be just a good idea to wait and see, because the McLaren F1, while lacking in acceleration and a bit of handling compared to this car, I would say that if you've already invested something in the McLaren F1, like I believe I have it at 2 stars and I have the key. If you've done something like that, where if you have maybe the key, or if you have invested in starring up the car but you don't have the key, then I would say a good idea would be to wait for that car and see what you can do in terms of investment, because it's pretty close between the McLaren F1 LM and the W12. It's not an earth-shattering difference, and your tokens might be better well spent with the McLaren F1 because you might have had the opportunity to already invest in that car. So you might be like halfway to getting a max McLaren F1 LM. So let me know your thoughts in the about the W12 in the comment section down below. Are you going for this event, or are you just waiting for other cars? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.